This forum is a question forum. Candidates will be asked questions. It's not an open mic forum. After the questions are done, the question period is done, the candidates will go out and talk with the audience. You can ask them any question you want. I would hope everybody respects everybody else. There'll be no shouting out from the audience, no heckling, no none of that stuff. Just let's respect each other and have a nice time here tonight. So how I'd like to start this off is by saying we acknowledge that we are gathered here on traditional territory of the Blackfoot Nation, people whose historical relationship with the land continues today. So we'll start with candidate number 1 down at the end there, which is Bob. You can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, your campaign, and we'll go from there.
Is there a time right now?
Go.
Yeah.
My name is Baird. I've lived in Baird for about 5 years now. We bought a house in town and it took us about a year and a half to renovate. A little bit about myself. I come from a history of long, hard work. I've been involved in the trucking industry. I started out my working career at a wrecking yard. I've done a lot of different things in my life. I'm here tonight to run as a candidate because I believe that the village of Baird and the residents in it deserve much more than what we get for our tax dollars. I also believe that in the world that we live in today, that's the importance of government, that the spirit of the office actually returns to the office, and politicians actually serve you, the people. I don't look at anybody up here tonight as an opponent. I'm here to put my name and myself forward to represent you. I'll be glad to answer any questions later on, and I'm looking forward to talking with all of you, if you choose so, to come and introduce yourself on the floor. If not, I'll be walking around the village right up until election day. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next candidate is Clint.
I'm not quite as tall as Bob. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming up tonight. Before I get started, I just want to thank Ed for moderating tonight. This is not something he's required to do, but he took time out of his day, so can I get a quick round of applause for Ed? So thank you. And also thank you to the other candidates who came out today. It's important that we all have a chance to tell everyone about our campaign and what we plan to do if we're elected to the village council. So my name is Clinton Bishop, and I've called Barron's home my whole life. And I live here, I work here, I enjoy all my time here, and I look forward to keeping the village moving forward. Over my term on council, I focused on transparency and accountability, making sure residents have access to full agenda packages and the information behind every decision. I've also pushed to review service contracts, control unnecessary spending, find new revenue streams, and plan ahead for infrastructure renewal like our water plant. Does that stop for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Will.
I'm really not that tall. Okay, so my name is Vrooman. I'm running for candidacy because I think that we need to have some change in the village. I think we need to, part of my plan is to ensure village infrastructure meets and exceeds the needs of the residents and supports the future growth. Also to encourage local business. Support the creation and comprehensive plan to attract and retain business within the village. Optimize village assets. Review all village assets, equipment, and identify surplus items for sale or repurposing or prioritizing repairs or upgrades on the community needed. Also to promote transparency and accessibility, to make council and council meetings more accessible to residents through quarterly information sessions and informal community coffee chats. And then a short plan for the future, assisting in development for 5, 10, 15, 20-year plans and strategic planning and proactive citizen growth.
Okay, Sharon?
Hello, I'm Sharon Prost. I've been here since 2018. I'm running for council because I think we need to be a community, not one against each other. I know what hard work is. I was a single mom before, raised them on my own, worked 3 and 4 jobs until I landed one with the government, and then I couldn't concentrate on raising my kids. And I just think that we need to build something better for all of us. Something for the seniors, something for the kids. And if you have any questions, so please ask me. Thank you.
Okay, Kyle? I hope you guys don't mind me calling you by your first names.
Good evening, my name is Kyle Prince. I'm mostly running on transparency and accountability. I mean, over the past 2 months where I've looked through Baird's financial documents, our contracts, I'm just finding enough discrepancy that I really want to get a municipal investigation started. I mean, our auditor's been sanctioned for unprofessional conduct and failing to meet audit standards for 3 years in a row. Our tax bylaws have multiple errors, some that the village still haven't caught, and I'll share that with you tonight. But honestly, I'd like to see us kind of emulate champion where we are working with our nonprofits to actually bring services back to the village. So we can actually have services for our kids, for our seniors, for the village to get together as a community then. Thank you.
Dan?
My name is Daniel Doell. I've been born and raised around this area for almost all of my life. And I'm hoping for change, and please vote for me.
Belinda?
Hi, I'm Belinda Rempel, and I've been here since 2003. I graduated from Noble Central in 1984 and moved back here in 2003. And I am running on financial accountability and also open communication, because I think we need to have more communication between council, the administration, and the residents of Baird, who I think need to have their voices heard. Thank you.
Okay, start the questions. Question number 1. Why are you running for public office? And ask that of Bob on the end.
Brutal. Actually, I got a question for you guys. How many of you guys are happy with government at any level in this country? Raise your hands. Yes? There you go. What are the biggest problems with government? Nobody's getting answers? I'm engaging the community. That's what's missing in our government at any level. So yeah, I want credibility. I want total transparency. I want a commitment to the office that you hold. And I want truth. I think that's something that will unite a community right off the get-go. Thank you very much.
Clint? Do you need the question repeated? Or?
No, I think I'm good, so that's why I'm running. Parents, because it's been in my life, my whole life, it's time that I give back a little bit, and I've had an opportunity to do that over the last year and a bit since the by-election, and I want to continue with some of the agenda items that I brought forward in my last campaign, and that I want to continue working on to help make Barron's the community that I always loved as a kid, and I hope that future generations will love as much as I did.
I'm running for office we want to create community spirit. Also to show that the office isn't a scary place. You can come in there, ask questions, and get the proper answers. Also to make sure that we got a handle on our infrastructure and a handle on our tax base, and we got a handle on what's going on around town. And I think it's only fair to the community to be totally transparent with that and bring it forward.
Before I ask the next candidate to come up, could you turn your cell phones off so it's not interrupting us, please? Thank you. Hey, Sharon?
And the reason I'm running for council is because we do need change. We need open and honest communication. And we need better. Better everything. We need the transparency. We need to know how to make this town profitable. And we need other things here. I haven't been in this community very long, 7 years. Took care of my mother, but I've seen enough to know we need to start being a community. Thanks.
The reason I decided to run is, honestly, I just got really annoyed with the way things were working out here. But during my time around speaking to residents, it's kind of blossomed into a lot more than that. I do want to see Baird start thriving, but unless we actually have people that, or a council that can actually engage with people, we're not going to see any change. Like, I mean, right now, 52% of our council meetings are held between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on a weekday. How many people can afford to take off 9 days in a year to attend council meetings so they can get information? The council needs to be more accessible. They need to be more transparent, and we actually have to mean that when we say it. Thank you.
Daniel?
I'm running for council because change is nice. I enjoy working for everybody, and hopefully I get your vote. Thank you.
Belinda? It's been a while since I asked the question. Do you need it asked again or no?
I'm running for council because I really want to see change in Barron's. I would like to see things become better, more open communication, get to know the people, talk to them. Also, like, I've become somewhat frustrated by recent events that have occurred. And also I know, as a person who has lived here for quite a while, that there's probably many people, myself included, who look around and wonder why we don't have things that we used to. Thank you.
Okay, next question. We'll start with Clint this time. The question is, because Barron's rents out the fire hall, does this mean that we're probably never going to get a fire department again?
It's a good question. The question about the fire department comes up quite regularly when you speak with residents. A fire department would definitely be nice to have again. Truthfully, I'd be in favor of doing that, but I think what we all need to realize is the costs that come along with that. There are ways to go about it, And if that's something the community wants and they're willing to pay for it, then I'd be happy to, while sitting on council, explore that idea. But just recognize that there's no magic dollars that can come out of nowhere in order to fund that. And so decisions will have to be made in order to create a fire department again. Anyone that promises otherwise doesn't really understand what the costs are to start up an entire department like this, all the capital costs, the operational costs, the recruitment needs. It's a huge endeavor. And so you'll probably hear people promising it. It's doable, but it comes with some realities, and we all have to be ready for that.
Okay, Will?
Fire department would be great. Problem is, current council rented out the fire hall on a contract. So no one knows what that contract contains, or how long it's gonna be, or if there is a payout if they get booted out. So we have to find somewhere to put the fire department. And the cost of the fire department is large. Big money. And then we gotta do training, have volunteers, community's gotta be ready to get involved in that kind of thing. So it's a big hurdle. It's not that it can't be done, but we have to be ready to go through that trauma to make it work.
Okay, Sharon?
No, I think we do need the fire department back. It'll take work. We need to work as a community, we need to work as a village. We need to work with the municipal government. You know, it would be a necessity. It's a necessity. You know, the fires that we've had great response. Carnegie, Nobleford, Richard, Coldhurst, and Coaldale. But it'd be nice even to have even a certified fire truck and someone that could operate it. But that's for us to figure out.
Kyle?
So with the fire department, I mean, the fire hall lease really doesn't matter because we do have the building on Main Street that we could use. It was the old fire hall. Yes, cost is an issue, but over the past couple of weeks, I've been looking at funding options such as the Alberta Fire Aid Society, which will donate turnout gear. The provincial government has a bunch of grant programs for firefighter training. We have residents here working on the Carmen Gate Fire Department because they couldn't get a spot on the Baird Fire Department. And I believe they'd actually be open to coming back and training some people here. It's not insurmountable, but at the same time, we do need community involvement. We need to get a firefighting nonprofit set up so we can do casino nights and get other funding that way and not increase taxes at the same time. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I think we can do it. Thank you.
Dan?
This would be a very nice thing to have as a fire department in town again. But like everything else, we'll have to work at piece at a time. And then the volunteers are the most important part. So we'll have to do one thing at a time, so hopefully that'll work.
Belinda?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to see the fire department come back, and certainly not just in the interest of individual residents, so to speak, in terms of attracting businesses, because do they want to come here as much if we don't have a fire department? And higher insurance costs as well. So I think it would be a great thing, and we need to explore any avenues that we can to get it back. Thank you.
Bob?
I'm not even gonna bother messing with the mic anymore. Okay, the biggest thing that I just noticed here is the fact that I see a lot of negative, we can't do it, so much work, where are we gonna get the money? The answers are all there. There's grants everywhere for everything. What we need is a council with an attitude of we can do this. We've got over 100 young people in this town that are anxious to get going and build a community. I think it's time that we started supporting them. Children are our future, and the young adults want to do it. Thanks.
As you can see, I'm not starting at the same person every time. I'm trying to give everybody a chance to answer your question first. So the next question will be for Will. And the question is, how will you bring forth transparency and accountability in the running of the village of Baird to the public? In the running of the village of Baird.
I can bring transparency to the village in the running by going back and providing statistics and information. Part of my plan is to be more transparent in the village by when we're holding meetings such like this or having council meetings broadcasted, there is a device in the town's grasp that we can use. For those that can't make it to the meetings so they can see what's going on, they can participate in that fashion. And just being honest, right? That's what we want, is somebody's going to be honest. We don't want to be pushed around the bend and shown a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Tell it how it is and deal with it and move forward. That's all we can do. Maybe.
Sharon?
Transparency to me is just open, honest communication. I've always been open and honest. I tell you how it is. If you don't like it, okay, that's yours. But I will fight tooth and nail when I know I'm right about something or somebody is right for something. And I don't back down until I hit that limit where there's no other place to go. But I will fight until the end. So I'll be honest, open. That's the best I can do.
Kyle?
I believe the first thing I'd start with for transparency is actually moving council meeting, or increasing council meetings to bi-monthly. And actually moving those to, 7 p.m. so we can avoid most of these special council meetings for our budgetary meetings. Those have been set at a Wednesday at 1 p.m. How are you guys supposed to actually attend that? If we move those to either the evenings or weekends, you guys would have a chance to sit in on budget meetings and council discussion, so you have a voice going forward. The other thing we need to do is to review all of our policy and bylaw and make sure it's actually accessible to everyone. And unfortunately, right now it's not. Our website links are broken for almost everything. The council minutes are put out, the agenda packages are put out way after the council meeting. How are you guys supposed to know what's going on when you don't have the information council does?
Dan?
Yeah, can you use the question again?
How will you bring forth transparency and accountability in the running of the village of Baird to the public?
So we need to open up, talk to people, see what they want, and see what we can do about it. More talk, more decisions, get more people like this out, so we can talk about it, discuss it.
Belinda?
I would I think by looking at the ways that we're currently communicating with people and seeing if we can't do better. For instance, we now have, say, Facebook, variants, we have the newsletter. And things also like, if there's a Doell water advisory, how are we informing people? Some people, maybe they don't find out, and they don't know, because they don't have Facebook, or something like that. And we need to look at ways that we can communicate with everybody. Thank you.
Bob?
Transparency comes with using the language that everybody understands. We've got close to a 50% population of men in the community here. They have a difficult time understanding the English language. We need to start using language that everybody understands. We need to start educating the public as they go into the office. We need to be putting out news bulletins. Bullet point form, what exactly is going on. We need to get out and talk. We need town halls. I agree with Kyle a lot. Yes, and actually this forum is, I was disappointed about this forum. You know, I understand Clinton's point, amnesty, but I also understand dignity. The ability for anybody in this audience to stand up and ask a question. That's freedom, that's free speech. We're losing it quickly. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll share one thing that I did manage to accomplish in my short term so far, and that's, I think, a significant one, and that's getting all of our agenda packages fully published, including attachments. Previously, all you had was the agenda page itself with the topics, difficult to follow along with meetings. So that was a significant change for residents to actually see what we were talking about ahead of meetings. The agenda packages are always published the same day that council receives them. So they're just as accessible to me, sitting on council, as they are to any other resident who bears. A couple things that I didn't get to accomplish, but I hope to in this next term, is getting our recorded meetings and broadcasted meetings. So if you can't attend the regular council meetings, you are able to be there. If you can't attend a random special meeting because we have an emergency in the middle of the day, you can still watch it at home. Of course, a couple other things I'd like to see is encouraging my peers whenever we're making decisions in council. It's a habit I have, but I'd like to see others do it. Explain your decision making when you're voting on motions. That's a big one for the community to stay engaged.
Okay, next question. With Sharon? The question is, if you get elected, are you going to have 10 or 15 minutes of open question periods prior to council meetings without having to submit a 2-week prior to the meeting?
I actually think an open mic is a good thing before, because people have questions and you gotta write them down and submit them for 2 weeks before. Sometimes you get some timers, sometimes you remember and sometimes you don't. And I get that all the time. You know, you think of a question and you think, oh, I should write it down, and then you lost it. So if they have a question period, as long as it's respectful to everybody, including the council and the members of the audience, I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
I'd actually love to see a open mic at the start of council, and I've been kind of campaigning on it for the last 2 months here. It really just gives everyone an opportunity to connect with council, and council to connect with everyone else. You shouldn't need to write in advance, or 2 weeks in advance, to stand in front of council for a quick question. And really, if you can't come to council, can't ask your questions, then what is council even doing? Yeah, thank you.
Dan?
Say again, please.
If you're elected, are they going to have 15 to 10, are you going to allow 15 to 10 or 10 to 15 minutes of open question period to council meeting without having to put in a 2-week submission before the meeting?
We did that once before, and caused nothing but a bunch of grief. People arguing and they were throwing stuff, and this is crazy. So, I do believe that people need to speak up and talk to us, and feel free.
Belinda?
I think it's a good idea in theory. I don't know how it would work in practice. Trying to put a time limit on people talking, or people might have disagreements. That's negative about it, but the positive is people would get to express their opinions and ask questions. And also other people could hear what other people are saying. They might not have thought of something themselves. Thank you.
Okay, Doell?
Yes, I think that everybody needs to be heard, and I think that it's important that at any time, people should be able to contact the council. I think that 10 to 15 minutes, if somebody has a few quick questions, that's good. There's no problem with that. I also believe that the Robert's rules that council operates under now is very confusing for everybody. And there's no time taken to actually stop and let people digest all these technical terms and motions and resolutions, and we need some just common language. This village has too much frustration in it, and we need to let that dissipate a little bit so everybody can have a voice. Thank you.
Glenn?
I think with the right parameters in place, that's something that the village can achieve at our council meetings, but there has to be understanding on sort of both sides of that table that we have to conduct ourselves appropriately. If you come to council with questions, you can't always expect an answer. It's not intended to be a dialogue back and forth between citizens and council, because you're coming to the table without anyone being prepared for your questions or knowing what they're going to be. And so, as we've seen in some council meetings, when people do come to the council chambers with some of their items, they're frustrated when they don't have those answers. And if we can be respectful on both sides of that table, we can do it. But that's sort of the expectation I would have if we go down that road.
Yeah.
I like that platform. I think we should do it. Tabor does it. We have a 5 to 10 minute session before, after the initial meeting, council meeting is done. And if the questions are answerable at that time, you'll get an answer immediately. If they need time to research and come back to you, then we can research and come back to you with the proper answer. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think it's a great idea.
Sharon? You already good. Okay, next question. Are you planning to, if elected, are you planning to increase the maximum tax? Again, considering we are already the highest min tax in the region.
Designed just for me. I've actually been looking at that minimum tax rate for the past couple of weeks here. Now, my problem with the minimum tax rate is it's a regressive tax. It specifically targets the lowest housing values in Canada. And so this year, if you have a $50,000 house, that minimum tax rate brings you up to about $85,000 profit. That means all of our seniors on fixed incomes are the ones that are getting hit with this tax. And in the same breath, with that minimum tax, it doesn't offset the mill rate for higher value properties. So essentially, all it does is double dip. because they're not including the minimum tax in the budget. And unfortunately, I believe our CEO really needs to go over these tax documents again and make sure that minimum tax is included in our budget so the mill rate does drop. Thank you. Sorry if I wasn't clear, I definitely would not raise it.
As it is, in the government right now, everything seems to be going up. We don't know where to get the money from, so taxes, I don't want taxes to go up either, so.
Belinda?
No, I will not raise it. Thank you.
Bob?
After getting educated a little bit on taxes, and tax code for me, really, it's good midnight reading if you can't get to sleep. But no, taxes aren't going to go up as far as I'm concerned. There's plenty other ways that the village can plan to thrive, not just tax until death. Thanks very much.
Lynn?
I think our current level of minimum tax is quite sustainable where it is, so I don't foresee a need to change it. But I do want to explain a little bit as to why we have a minimum tax. At the end of the day, in order to provide all the services, the roads, the sidewalks, the water, the sewer lines to everybody's property, there are fixed costs based on a linear foot or a square foot, depending on what utility you're looking at or infrastructure you're looking at. And that minimum tax is designed to recognize that regardless of a property's value, it is consuming an amount of space in town and consuming services and resources that we all have to share the cost of. Is to recognize some of that equity that needs to exist in the community so that our highest value properties aren't overpaying for what their share of the infrastructure needs are. And that's the reason for the minimum tax.
Will?
Definitely not gonna raise taxes, I think they're way too high as it is. I think there's other methods that we can look at to lower taxes and bring the mill rate back down to where it's manageable. We have a lot of families and homes in town that are struggling right now, and they can't afford huge town bills and massive taxes. There's gotta be other means that we can use through grants, through other help programs through the government, that we can access to fund some of the projects and things that need to get done. It's not my plan to raise the taxes at all. Plan is to drop them.
Sharon?
No, I would not want to see taxes go up. There's got to be some solution of trying to get them down a bit. Because I know what it's like to rock Peter, do pay Paul, and then borrow from Paul P. Peter again. You know, when you're on a limited budget, you can only stretch it so far. And I'd like to look into other resources that we can find out how to lower them. Thank you.
Okay, the next question will be with Dan. Did you get to answer the question? Yes. Okay. Yeah, Dan? Next question is, if elected, what are your plans for growing the community? RI, the baseball diamonds, land development, or baseball diamonds / land development?
Well, we have a few things on the go and deciding on what we're gonna do about it. We fixed the sewer lagoon, now gotta get the water. Now we gotta worry about everything else in between, so we're working slowly, so hopefully that by the time it does grow, we can be caught up and be able to develop more land.
Belinda?
I would just like to see more services in the village. I'd like to see a grocery store again, that sort of thing. and I would like to see us get our water plant up to some. Thank you.
To grow our community, we need to be a community. That's where it all starts. Stopping all the infighting, all the years of arguing, to be honest, caused by government. I've heard a lot of sad stories in my short time campaigning. And yeah, we need to come together. This village has changed. Like I said, we've got 50% Mennonite community. Children are our future. Thank you very much.
I think one thing we've all observed in town is how quickly real estate changes hands here. So we understand that there's demand for people to move to Baird. They understand that it's an affordable place to live, raise a family, retire, whatever the reason for moving here might be. I think there's an opportunity that we have at our fingertips right now to redevelop the baseball diamonds into residential property. We already don't use them or maintain them, so it's one thing I've pushed for in my current term is to explore that, and I'm hoping I can do that with the next council, is to truly explore the feasibility of that. I know just shortly before the election, one of the things that we did accomplish was getting our land up for sale, which I think should be happening soon. So the vacant property on Main Street will eventually be sold and redeveloped, and then we have a residential lot on the railway that's hopefully going to be sold shortly and redeveloped as well. So there's stuff happening, and I think that we need to continue moving in that direction, and I hope the new council will work with me to do that.
Will?
It's definitely part of my floor plan to increase Baron's development. But we need to build our infrastructure up first so it can handle it. We need to put in guidelines with the property that's being sold. So if someone does buy the property down on Main Street, they have X amount of years to start developing. So we don't have property laying around vacant and doing nothing. Because I think everybody sees around town, we have enough of that stuff going on already. We need the stuff to happen. So hopefully if I get in, the rest of the council gets in, we can devise a plan, come up with a plan to start developing some of these areas. Thanks.
Sharon?
Excuse me, sorry. I think we need to get the water plant redone. The last update was 1984. I was still in high school. So that needs to be done so we can get other facilities in here. But in the meantime, we're not using the baseball diamond. Why not make that into a dog park? We have the water source right there. At least that's there's something. And then, even like the park for the children. The place does lights. Because at least that's something. Because that metal gets hot in summer. You burn your butt. Or the kids go and burn themselves, that's not any good. But we just need to start doing some improvements and get things going. Thank you.
Will's absolutely right. We do need to set conditions for village land sales. Now, in the past 5 years, Barron's has actually grown by 8%, compared to surrounding communities like Champion that have grown over 50%. In the same breath, we just simply turn houses over here. We're not actually growing, so yes, while real estate moving is great, it doesn't mean the community is actually growing, thriving. And to start actually growing, we need to get our services in. We need to start working with our nonprofits to actually bring amenities to the village. I've been looking at how to start small co-ops so we could actually try and bring a store back that is community owned, and in that way, it's actually feasible to have a store here again and other amenities. Thank you.
Okay, new question for Belinda. If you get elected, are you going to look into and/or removing past bylaws.
Yes, I'm aware that there's a particularly unpopular bylaw, and I would look into removing it. Thank you.
Bob?
I think we all know what bylaw she's talking about. Yeah, big community divider. Any other municipality, I think, would have dealt with that totally different. From what I understand, it was 2 or 3 properties that were involved. It could have been done on an administrative level. And, yeah, I think a good revision of many of our bylaws and the language that's written in needs to be reviewed thoroughly. Thank you very much.
Ben?
It's funny nobody feels like mentioning a bylaw, so I'll just mention it. It's the traffic bylaw. I would have no desire to repeal the traffic bylaw because it's a very necessary one. However, if there are further amendments required to it, then it's something that council is always willing to listen to people on. It's just a matter of speaking with council. Instead of just being angry with change, try and engage with council. I know when I'm in the community, I talk about these issues well before they hit the council agenda to try and get a bit of a sense of how people are feeling about things. And I'd encourage you, talk to your councillors. We're available. So if you have feelings about things, if you want to see change, if something's not working, or if something's working really well, we just need to hear from it. So please share it with us so we can make those bylaw decisions.
Will?
I know which bylaw you guys are talking about. Boulevard parking. I'd throw that right out. I think it's useless. Our streets aren't wide enough, and the problem properties, we need an actual bylaw officer that does what he's supposed to do, instead of sitting on Railway Ave, staring at his computer. So that's what I think we should need to do, is get someone competent to do the job. Quit picking on people with their bylaw, parking on the boulevards that are maintaining it, and those that are abusing it get addressed separately. That's all I gotta say about that.
Sharon?
In my opinion, when they first introduced that bylaw, I was like, why fix it? If it wasn't broken, why fix it? And I listened to both sides, and that's how I work, is listening to both sides, but I still can't understand it to this day. It's been like that for how long? You pull up here and, yeah, people are parked on the boulevard properly. You know, now it's all, you have to get permits. But I would look into that. Thank you.
Kyle?
So in looking into this, you guys know how wide our streets are. So I brought up the sidewalk, they're 66 feet. Now, unfortunately, no one can seem to tell me how wide our boulevards are. I was asking our bylaw officer about this. He doesn't know how wide the boulevards are. So, how can you actually have a bylaw that says you can't park on the boulevard when no one seems to know how wide our boulevards are? The bylaw was just silly to start with. Because if you don't define a boulevard, it's just completely nonsensical. But not only that, it causes so many more problems than it ever attempted to solve. I mean, we had people parking on the street for months that you couldn't get a fire truck through, you couldn't get an ambulance through. You know, if anything happened to Green Acres, emergency services were getting there. It was just a bad idea.
Yes?
Well, there gotta be changes, so hopefully that maybe one day it'll be better. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, I have time for one more question. We'll start with Bob on this question. Okay, Bob, if elected, what will you do to guarantee equal treatment of everyone in the village of Baird.
I don't know if it gets much broader than that. In Canada, we've got a Charter of Human Rights. We've got a Criminal Code Canada. We've got plenty of things like that. I practice it every day. I do my best to be fair, honest, treat people with kindness, respect. So to guarantee, I can't guarantee somebody else's behavior, but I can guarantee a mine, and that's what I'm about. And if we're elected on council, I will also make sure any councillor that's with me, I will hold their feet to the fire, just like I hold mine. Because that is the spirit of the office. Thank you very much.
Clint?
I don't think I do anything differently than I already do, because I treat everyone pretty equally. I'm happy to be transparent about things, whether we agree on things or not. I'm happy to hear whether I agree with ideas or not. But it's kind of a tricky question to answer, because it's a very broad topic that I don't have a lot of control over, except for my own actions. And I think my actions over the last year and a half speak for themselves with how I've treated folks. I respect you if you respect me. If you don't respect me, I will tend to give you the same in kind.
Will?
I was always raised to treat others how I want to be treated. So, you know, I'll give you the fair shake, treat you honestly, treat you fairly, be straightforward with you. If you decide that you don't want to be that way and show me ignorance, rudeness, intolerance, I'll probably give you the same handling back. But I'll also stick up for you if somebody else in the council is doing that towards you. I'm not going to stay silent. I will intervene and I'll say, stop, that's not right. That's about the best I can do. I can't control others, I can't control others' actions. What I can control is my own. Thank you.
Sharon?
All I can say is I treat everybody with respect. Even if you're disrespecting me, I would still be polite. You know, because my way of thinking is business, personal. You don't put your personal into your business. Just like your business doesn't go into your personal life. And if I'm on council, that'll be business. If you want to talk to me outside of chambers as a friend or as on a personal level, I'm fine with that too. I will treat everybody respectfully. Thank you.
If you're elected, what will you do to guarantee equal treatment for everyone in the village of Baird?
So, now are we talking equal treatment as in our behavior in council, or are we actually talking equal treatment in decision? Those are two vastly different topics, because what I've seen is, yes, council can treat people equally in their behavior, but in the decisions, council is wildly different depending on who you are in the village, and that has to stop. It has to be one rule for everyone, and not just one rule for council's friend, one rule for the guy down the road, and one rule for council themselves. You know, I believe we actually have to start looking at some of these decisions that have been made and see if they were done ethically. And I would hope, and I would ask my fellow council councillors to hold me to account if I do, if I do make an unethical decision. Thank you.
Dan?
I believe that everyone should have a chance to speak to one of us freely, and then we'll make a decision about it in council or together. We're always there for everybody, so feel free to speak to us and talk to us. Always there.
Belinda?
I think, well, as I said before, I think communication is key in talking to everybody and ensuring that you're treated equally, but also about how decisions made in council affect people. Because, for example, minimum tax, as somebody has already brought up, a lot of our residents are on fixed incomes. That should have been considered. Thank you.
Okay, that completes this question period. First off, I'd like to thank the timekeepers, Crystal and Chantel and Frank. To give them a big hand of applause. I also like to thank the candidates for showing up. I appreciate all the answers they gave and the honesty that they put forth. Thank you very much. And last but not least, thank you guys for showing up. This is important. This is the future of your village. You guys are going to have to make the decision on who you're going to put in council, and I'm glad you showed up to listen to all this. Thank you very much.